Hey, you guys.
Welcome back. Here we go.
So, have you seen houses that are sitting on the market maybe even weeks or months and wondered why are these houses sitting?
Right.
And even more importantly, how do you avoid those mistakes if you are going to sell your house in the next little bit? So, if you're wondering those questions, we're going to dive in and talk about that today.
Here we go. So here in central Alabama, Birmingham, every day there are houses that have been listed that are expiring. They never sold.
Right.
Or listings that are canceled for whatever reason. The seller just gave up.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
And as we're watching the days on market increase, from just a few years ago, from basically being on the market for 3 hours,
Right.
and now the average days on market in this area is almost 57 days.
Right.
And so we've been trending those. We've watched those
Right.
as just part of studying our craft, and we notice a pattern.
Yes. And so we're going to dive into that pattern to save you guys from experiencing your home expiring or just not selling. So let's talk about it.
So the first thing that is a principle that you'll see over and over and over here is that buyers are educated.
Yes.
Now more than ever. Why? Because they actually look at hundreds of homes before they actually go see a home, right?
Right.
So they understand for a neighborhood or a part of town
Yes.
or a certain size home, they kind of get a feel for what the price should be.
Right.
And so the first reason that homes tend to sit
Yes.
is when they're presented to the market a little bit overpriced.
Well, and we realize too, if you're a seller, you look at your home one way, and
Right.
if you're a buyer, you look at the home in a totally different way.
That's right.
As a seller, you see all the great benefits and perfect, layout and all the things that you've enjoyed about that home. But a buyer, they're picky, and so they want to make sure that what they're purchasing is actually they're getting the most bang for their buck, and they're not getting, hoodwinked with a price. And so if you have it even just a little bit out of where the market would say it should be, like they're just going to scroll past it. Like they're not even going to take the time to look at it.
That's right.
So they're going to start number one by looking online, and if it is already outpriced, like they're not even going to stop to look.
So we look at this objectively. Again, we track and we hone what we're doing,
Right.
hone our skills. And so what we know is that if there aren't even people looking at the house,
Right.
that is usually a certain percentage overpriced.
Yes.
And if you've got a lot of people looking at the house, but you have no offers coming in, then
Yes.
that's also meaning that it can be overpriced for its condition, but probably just by a little bit less of a percentage. So let's sum this up by saying that a lot of people feel that realtors determine the price at which the house will sell. That's not our job.
Right.
Our job is to be a marketing expert because we build a strategy around a price range based on what has the public already said no to, based on what have houses appraised to that have sold, and we construct a strategy, a price range that you, the seller, you get to choose.
Right.
But within that strategy, we determine that together, with the seller and us, how we're going to present that house to the market.
Right. All right, so reason number 2 that homes are either sitting on the market for a really long time or completely expiring is the home doesn't meet the buyer expectation. And well, what does that mean? Well, at certain price points, buyers have certain expectations. So, if it's probably a lower price point, maybe the expectation really is that they hope it's clean and they can do some work to it and have it move-in ready. But when you start to get to mid-level price points, the 500, 600, somewhere in there, like the buyer has different expectations for what the house should have in it. Like those are the types of things that should have granite, and it should have updated lighting, and it should have updated flooring, and those types of things. And then when you get into the luxury market, they're not really buying square footage, they are buying a lifestyle. And if the home hasn't been updated, if it still screams 1990, like they're gonna walk away from it because that's not the lifestyle that they're looking for. So to wrap that point up, it just means like when you have a conversation with your realtor, like you know what price point roughly that you're going to be in, and we want to make sure that your house meets the expectation of the buyer at that price point.
And so it can be a very mathematical scenario, and that's why working with a realtor who understands the market, not the market from 30 years ago, but today's market. That's why that's so important, because it could be that you spend a few $1,000s to update your kitchen countertops, and now all of a sudden your house is in the game at the price point that you want.
Right. And so that's why a conversation and a strategy actually matters.
Always. All right, point number 3 is the actual marketing and presentation. And I use that word very intentionally because that's what we do.
Right.
We present your home to the market. And so we almost kind of laugh, and we probably shouldn't laugh, but when we see nice homes and the photos online are cell phone photos. They're dark and there's clutter everywhere. This is the thing that you and I have learned and that we're doing really well. We actually team up with designers.
Right.
We team up with top-notch sought-after photographers. We team up with a host of people who know how to do everything as far as staging your home goes, the clutter that needs to be moved around so that we present your home nice, bright, wide, and open. And again, those things are just some of the basics of this is how we want to present the market so that the biggest pool of buyers will be attracted to the home.
Right. Because again, remember, like, people are shopping online first. They're not driving by the house to see what it looks like. They're shopping online first. And if the pictures are dark and cluttered, like you talked about, like they're just skipping it. Like they're not even entertaining the idea of that home. So professionally staging, professionally decluttering, professional pictures, that all makes a difference and a huge impact for your home when you're putting it on the market.
So remember, like when I was a kid growing up, I remember we would go to a restaurant and see the real estate books, right? And it was the listing booklet, and all it had was a front picture of the house, and then in writing a few of the stats. That's not the way real estate works today. So if you're getting advice from someone who bought their last home 30 years ago, it's just not the same. We go through a lot of steps to prepare the home to capture those so that we win. We actually win on the couch, meaning we win the buyer while the buyer is in the comfort of their current home on their sofa, flipping through websites, looking at homes. We win there first, then we win at the curb. And then when we win at the curb, we have a greater chance of winning for you.
Well, as a matter of fact, like as we were preparing for a home, for a listing this upcoming week, we noticed that the property had been listed and expired 4 times. And so that's kind of odd. So we just did a little digging to figure out what was going on with the property. And we figured out that it was not even in the proper place in the MLS, which means the buyer, the right buyer for that property couldn't even find the home. So having the right marketing strategy is super beneficial so that your home doesn't sit on the market or expire.
That's right. So what does it take to sell your home and to keep it from sitting on the market? The first thing I will say is that even when you do everything right, remember the average days on market are increasing, and that is a result, not that you, the homeowner, did anything wrong. It's a result of today's current interest rates. It's a result of the consumer confidence. It's all those things. So what we're saying is that personally for us, our style is not just to put a sign in the yard, put it in the MLS, and then pray that a buyer comes. Our style is that we actually come together to partner with you to strategize around what do we want to do to present your home to as many buyers as possible. In essence, through that, we want to make sure it's priced right. We want to make sure that it's meeting buyer expectations, knowing that the buyer pool is very knowledgeable and educated. And we want to make sure that it is marketed the way it should be marketed to reach those eyeballs.
So if you guys have been considering selling in the Birmingham area, reach out to us. You can call us at 205-368-5995 or text us. You can email us at info@nbbrownrealty.com. So we are Mike and Brandy Brown with Keller Williams in Birmingham, Alabama, and we'll catch up with you guys soon.